Yeah.
This is Geek Therapy Radio.
What are we waiting for?
And now your mental curator, Johnny Hamburger.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Geek Therapy Radio. I am your mental curator, Johnny Hamburger. And with, right off the bat, I'm not going to give away my Major League Baseball allegiance, but I do have Sarah here with me, who you'll remember from past episodes, that we are now engaged. You can click your ring up against the mic. Oh, you're still wearing it. Good.
I can't.
Some other hunk didn't lure you away? Oh, she's actually... Okay, good job. You hear the size of that rock? It's tiny.
Oh, babe.
Sarah, thank you for being on my show this week.
Yeah.
In these somber times.
I'm in mourning.
But it's nighttime while we're recording this.
Not that morning.
Why? As of recording, it is Thursday night, 10:55 p.m. What happened about 5 minutes ago?
Just happened. The Red Sox are going to the World Series.
And Sarah's so sad about that.
I'm sad and I'm not sad. I'm happy for you because you like the Red Sox.
Oh, well, she gave it away, so I guess the cat's out of the bag. So I guess I need to kind of explain myself. Do I? I mean, my show airs here in Houston. I would say that, well, a lot of my listeners...
Talked about the Red Sox at all on your shows?
I haven't spent like an entire segment on the Red Sox, but now we will. Not really. I want to talk about... Here's actually what I want to talk about. So Sarah said she's not too sad because her super hunky, not fat at all, no gut at all, radio fiance is a Red Sox fan, so she's kind of happy for me. And Sarah, what throughout this whole series, every time the Astros got behind just a couple of runs, and I would go to Twitter or whatever, or just see around the crowd, the Astros fans just hearts out of it. They were just bummed out. People were even leaving. The other night when they were down by 2 runs in the 7th, or 8th, people were leaving. And I understand it's because it was a school night. It was late. The game didn't end till after midnight. I understand that part. But to the fans who were leaving because they were just merely disheartened, to be frank, those fans who left because they were bummed they were down by 2 and using down by 2 as an excuse to leave, those fans don't deserve a ring. And that's a bold... That isn't even a bold statement. If you're not going to be behind your team, you should be sitting in those seats supporting your team, even if you're down by 9 runs, bottom of the 9th, 2 outs. You need to be supporting your team. And by and large, of course, 99.9% of Astros fans, I am very... I have a lot of respect for Astros fans and a lot of respect for Houston becoming such a baseball town. The Texans were off to a bad start, but Houston has shown itself to be a wonderful baseball town. And now, guess what? They've got a taste of what it means to lose in the postseason so horribly. Not even horribly. They gave it their all. It was a very tough fought series all the way to the end. I'm just saying, I saw a whole lot of fans throwing in the towel while they were still in it.
Do you think part of that is...
Fair weather fans.
Well, yeah. But even the momentum of the team, I think they just seemed like the wind was knocked out of them.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that was, something that you mentioned the whole time was the calls.
Yeah.
And I wonder if
there's
that
2
was
minutes,
a mental game.
Yeah. Yes. And that goes along with what I was saying is welcome to the postseason again. Houston Astros. I know they've been to the postseason a few times in the past, but I think one of the Astros' major problems was rolling into this postseason, expecting to go back to back, fully underestimating the ability of the Red Sox, who are the modern dynasty. I don't think the Astros realized that winning it again the second time back-to-back is almost impossible versus winning it that first time. Especially, you know what, in this case, especially because they were up against the Red Sox again. Might be a new rivalry, but they were up against the Red Sox again. And it's like they forgot. Red Sox, they know us. This is almost the exact same team as last year. They know everything to expect from us now. So I think they kind of, Astros rolled into it underestimating that fact with too much swagger. They talked about a lot of swagger this postseason with the Astros, especially I think Bregman was leading the way with all the swagger. He got real quiet. The past few games.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of, it took the wind out of the sails, but that's all I'm getting at, is it shouldn't have taken the wind out of the sails. As soon as the Astros got down by a run or two, it was like the dugout was dead.
Well,
we didn't expect this. What? You better bring it.
Has been never settle. And so if you're playing every game to that level, you're going to burn out by the end, especially when you've met a team like the Red Sox.
I wouldn't. Yeah, they could have burned out. You're right. Never settle. Honestly, I think it all boils down to, they burned out because they weren't expecting such resistance. We've been here before. We've beat the Red Sox before. And of course, I'm sure they were ready for a fight, but I think in the end they kind of underestimated, and they let going down a run or two, even going down by 4 runs, get the best of them, and you can't do that. We'll be right back with more Geek Therapy Radio. Quick minute here for Audi Central Houston on the way out. Audi Central Houston, it is the biggest Audi dealership in North America, and for good reason. The service you experience at Audi Central Houston is like nothing you've ever experienced in your life. I've been a customer of Audi Central Houston since before Geek Therapy Radio ever started, so there's no incentive for me to tell you that they have great service, not just because they're a partner of the show, but because I know it. I'm not taking partners on the show that I haven't experienced to see that they have something good that I would want as a customer. And Audi has something I want as a customer, not just great vehicles, but awesome service that makes you feel like a family. Sarah, I'm selling you on this. I'm pretending like you're a customer. Yeah, so Audi Central Houston, every make and model, every model you want from Audi. I'm sure they sell used cars too, but every Audi model from the A3 to the R8, there is an Audi in your budget at Audi Central Houston. Before you go to Audi Central Houston, you can peruse AudiCentralHouston.com so you know what you want before you go in there. Then talk to Danny Posey, he's the GM. Tell him that Geek Therapy Radio sent you. Welcome back to Geek Therapy Radio. Sarah hears the bump music and she's bouncing here next to me. Every time I record in here, the cat food machine goes off. Let's listen to it for a second. Every time. So yeah, welcome back to Geek Therapy Radio. I am your mental curator, Johnny Hamburger. If I'm your mental curator, Sarah, what would that make you?
I was just trying to think of that. Mental
contributor?
Sure.
Yeah, mental contributor. And not to throw Sarah under the bus, like I'm bringing her off the benches or something. We are both not feeling well currently. Like, we're at that point, you get to know your body well enough when you get older, Sarah, hush, that you know when you start to come down with something.
One day I'll understand.
Okay. Well, I was at work today at KTRH. You're listening to KPRC 950 AM, by the way, not to confuse you. But I went into work with a sore throat. But even then, you still, like, the energy level, you feel fine. Nothing's abnormal. But I got up to do something, to blow my nose or something routine, or maybe after a sneeze. But right after something, you notice all of a sudden that, I feel worn down. I'm well rested, but I have that worn down sick feeling, like I'm getting sick. Mm-hmm. And it's something I don't think you realize as a kid about yourself. You just keep going until your body hits the brick wall and you can't go any further. But as an adult, you sneeze, like, oh crap, I'm sick.
It's the sneezy season.
The sneezy season.
Yeah.
Sneezy season. Sneezy season.
Yeah.
Sneezy season. Sneezy season. Sneezy. Say that 10 times fast. Try it. Go.
I had to think about it really hard before I said it the first time.
That's why you're the mental contributor.
Yeah.
Sneezy season. Sneezy season. Sneezy season.
Sneezy seasons.
Duck season. Wabbit season.
All right, that's enough.
Speaking of seasons, it is yoga pants season.
Okay.
So these shows are kind of supposed to be a little bit evergreen, meaning that I try not to put so much identifiable timestamps and dates on them, even though I wind up doing it anyways.
Yeah.
But it is mid-fall right now, yoga pants season. What is it? Uggs.
Does it really
pumpkin
count
spice.
as mid-fall? Because
It got chilly. Got down to the
this
50s
week
recently.
It got chilly, and it is the middle of October.
Usually we've gotten our first little cool snaps in late September. It seems to me, having lived here since 1989, it feels like almost 30 years. Damn.
Old.
I'm I was about to say I'm an OG Houstonian. I should explain in a second why I'm a Red Sox fan, but let me explain that I came here with my dad. Well, I'll just say it flat out right now, Alan Hemberger, who you might have remembered from Channel 13 from 1989 to 1999. Live at 5, Sheriff Fryer, Alan Hemberger. Art Rascon took his place. Melanie Lawson was at Live at 5 for a long time. I think my dad started here with Sheriff Fryer. Sheriff Fryer's at KTRH. I work with her in the mornings. Is in a small world. Where was I going with that? So, Melanie Lawson is such a sweetheart. Like, if you think Melanie Lawson looks like a sweetheart on TV, because she's still on there. You watch her on live ABC Channel 13. She in a real life, she's like the sweetest, most caring sweetheart lady ever. And I didn't know that she had a cane. She came to my dad's funeral and she was limping with a cane, and I felt it's like seeing how do I put this in a becoming way? It was like seeing your own mother hurt or something. Like, she's been so sweet and caring, and now she's limping, and you feel like, how can I take care of you now? She was always really sweet with us kids. So we moved here from San Antonio. I was born mere miles away from the Alamo. I'm a through blood, true and true Texan. You don't get more Texan than me without being born in the Alamo. I was born in San Antonio, just miles away. You don't doubt my Texanicity.
The only time you have any slight accent is when you're talking about when you were born and that you're a true Texan.
I'm a true Texan. You know what? Because I was raised, let's get into it. I was raised non-dialect. My dad was Alan Hemberger, and this is why it gets into why we're Red Sox fans, because my dad was born in New Jersey, raised in Boston. So that's where the allegiance, the loyalty to the Red Sox came from. Now, last year, 2017, I was all in for the Astros, obviously, because I was with my city for Hurricane Harvey, and I knew exactly what it would mean to the city, and the Astros didn't have a world title. They came close in 2005. They had all pitching, no hitting in 2005, but they came close. So in 2017, I was like, this is going to mean so much to the city. And back when it used to be very easy to be an Astros and Red Sox fan because they were in different leagues. I didn't have to worry about it. I was like, you know what? The only time they're ever going to see each other potentially is in the World Series. And at that time, Astros were so historically terrible. I didn't think it was a problem. And even when they came to the American League, I was like, this could potentially provide some problems because they could see each other in the postseason a lot more often. And that has turned out to be the case. So people shouldn't hate me because I'm a Red Sox fan. They should pity me as a Houstonian and a Red Sox fan, because I used to be able to support both teams. Stop it. Both teams equally but separately. Now, the only time my allegiance is fully Red Sox, barring a hurricane in the city, is going to be when there's no hurricane in the city.
Right. Well, you didn't watch very many Red Sox games until they were playing Houston, but I guess
because they didn't roll through that often.
That's true.
That too. They were National League and American League are just like they're separate. There's whole separate feels to them. People say that National League is the pure league because the pitchers hit in the National League. I don't know. I always felt more attached to the American League, but that's just because I was raised as a Red Sox fan. 1986, Bill Buckner. Red Sox fans were long-suffering fans. And after the Cubs won, I forget who hasn't won since. The Astros were long-suffering too. They hadn't had before last year. They didn't have a titles before last year. They started as the Colt 45s.
The Cubs, it was like...
The Cubs was 100 and...
Yeah.
They won in 1912, and then I think they went to 2015. They won in 15, yes, because Back to the Future predicted it.
I thought it was 16.
They also predicted Trump, and they predicted... Back to the Future predicted a lot of things. Biff's character in Back to the Future 2 was Trump.
Oh, yeah.
So
I mean, yeah, like...
They got that right, and they got the Cubs right, and they got a bunch of other things right. They didn't get the flying cars right, or... Well, weather's pretty good. Weather, you can predict that pretty well now. But yeah, so that's where my Red Sox allegiance comes from. As I was raised in a Red Sox household, back to the non-dialect thing. Non-dialect means I have no accent. Effectively, I don't really have an accent. You can't.
He does add letters to words that do not have L's.
Both has an L in it.
It does not.
Both teams.
Both. There you go.
Both. All right, so other than my own speech impediments or whatever, I largely have no accent, even though I've been born and raised in Texas. And my dad could turn his Boston accent on, off and on. By the way, can I say something? Even though I'm a Red Sox fan, Boston accents are the most abrasive. New York accents, too. I'm sorry if I have listeners listening to the podcast in those states. Your accents are grating nails on chalkboard.
You know, they probably feel the same way about
Southern accents. I'm sure they do, but at least Southern accents, it's like molasses or honey. It's like a sweet drawl that kind of drips off the tongue. And I think, this is just me. This is my opinion here.
All right.
When I hear a Southern accent versus a Northern accent, when I hear a Northern accent, since I'm so used to them screaming and being stupid, I stereotype the Northern accent as being stupid versus a Southern accent, which I associate with NASA and putting people on the moon and sciencey space stuff. 30 seconds here for Audi Central Houston on the way out now that I've offended everybody and they've turned off their radios. AudiCentralHouston.com is where you go to start your search for your next Audi so you can be the sexiest, safest, most fuel-efficient cars on Texas roadways. We got those 85 mile per hour speed limits around here. You get an Audi for that. So start your search at AudiCentralHouston.com, and then when you go to Audi Central Houston and say hi to Danny Posey, the GM over there, tell them that Geek Therapy Radio sent you. They'll take really great care of you, not because I told them to, but because that's what they do at Audi Central Houston. Welcome back to Geek Therapy Radio. Mental curator Johnny Hemberger. Mental contributor Sarah. Soon to be Sarah Hemberger.
Oh?
Or is that too patriarchy?
I don't know.
We're actually gonna... Okay. Is it gonna be Sarah... Do you want me to take your last name? I'll be Johnny Poindexter? No. There's already a Johnny Poindexter.
Both of them are... But is there a Johnny Poindberger?
Poindberger is... That's going to happen if I become such a big celebrity that they have to mash our names together.
Okay.
We're going to be Poindberger.
That's fair.
There's...
Poindexter means nerd.
I know.
Sure, so.
Yeah, because I got called a Poindexter a lot growing up because of my thick Coke bottle glasses. And did you think I was a cute little boy? If we had a little boy that looked like me... Would you ask the doctor to take it back or get a return or a refund?
No. You're a cute little boy. Not were. You are simultaneously an old man and a little boy at the same time. I think we talked about this on a previous show.
Whatever. Speaking of little boy attributes, your mom sent me, hi Susie, sent me a very lovely letter She found a card with a DeLorean on it, and the envelope also has a DeLorean on it. And she said, there's no way I couldn't buy this and write you a letter on it. So she did, and it was very sweet about basically welcoming me to the family and stuff. And she was so happy. And I won't give away too many details because it's private for the air anyways. But I thought that it was so sweet. And then I got sad because I thought, I need to write her a letter back. But then I remembered, this is one of the little boy attributes that is held over into adult life, is that my handwriting is atrocious, and you would think that a child wrote it.
Yeah.
And I was saddened by that I can't write letters because no one could read it. And then I was thinking, why is that? This would be an interesting discussion, actually, interesting geeky discussion. I was wondering why. So how did I get into adulthood with such horrible handwriting? And the first thing where my mind went wasn't that I was left-handed. It was that, well, maybe I'm just a product of my generation, which is the oldest millennial you can get, apparently. Well, I was born in 83. Apparently the cutoff's 82, which is ridiculous, I think.
You're right at the cutoff.
Right at the cutoff. But I thought maybe the reason my handwriting stagnated to my childlike level was because typing and computers and emails and school and everything you did was so reliant on computers and, dare I say, typewriters, because when I was going through middle school and elementary school, by the time you weren't allowed to type papers for a while. They required you to do the handwriting, but it was also because the internet and computers, they thought there could be too much cheating. Plagiarizing was going to be a massive thing because every typed paper looks the same. So at the beginning, you couldn't write so many papers. It was like you were only allowed to write one paper per class or something like that. You definitely couldn't use Wikipedia when it first came out as a source. You still had to go to the library and have most of your sources as actual textbooks, as actual books, books. But even then, so all I'm saying is, I thought my handwriting may have stagnated because as soon as I learned to write, we were typing, and I didn't have to write so much, which is BS. Go on.
I don't think that bad handwriting is a generational problem.
It's not.
They have to write now, but I think cursive that was the biggest challenge that I heard. I had to learn how to write in cursive, but then there were schools now that don't teach cursive.
Right.
Did Mom's letter, was that written in cursive? It was in
cursive, mostly. Well, what's right there? Let's look at it. It was mostly cursive.
I think it is. That's usually.
And I did learn to write cursive, but I did wind up. It's right there. I did wind up figuring out why my handwriting was so bad. Because at first I thought, is it computers? No. Is it because I have a scapegoat of being left-handed?
Whoops.
No, Sarah must have made a big mess in here.
It's all my books. Yeah, it's all in cursive.
It's in cursive. So it wasn't computers, it wasn't being left-handed. I pinpointed why my handwriting was so terrible.
You just stopped hearing? That's what I think.
No, it's
teacher can read it, then what motivation do you have to make it better?
Because I was pretty good at drawing. I at one point I was really good at drawing, at making art and things with my hands. I was good at that. Mm-hmm. And I was good at doing things with my hands. Like I took piano for a few years. I played guitar. I still play guitar, so I was good with the dexterity of my hands and doing intricate things. But I'll just tell you, you know what, I think I pinpointed it. All right. You know why? It's because in my most developmental, like, handwriting years, when I was first learning to put a pencil in my hand to write, mm-hmm. so kindergarten basically, to make letters and shapes with my hands, nobody knew my eyes were horrible and I couldn't see what I was doing. So okay. I think, Sarah's going to blow my whole world up, I bet. I think that I learned in those formative years to my hand to accommodate for my eyes. Mm-hmm. Because not only was I crossing my eyes and seeing double lines, so I write JJOOHH NNNNNYY, because stop laughing. Because when I would bring my eyes together to focus, it would be 2 lines. Everything would be in focus, but it would be double everything. So I would never, while my muscles were learning how to make all them shapes.
There's that accent.
Yeah, that's just dumb. That wasn't an accent. That was just sounding stupid. Well, maybe. When I was learning to make them shapes, learning how to work my muscles.
Yeah.
That's where I picked up the eternal bad habit. Like, my brain made that connection, like permanent connection in my mind, that this is just the way my hands are going to move.
So
to compensate for my bad vision. What do you think?
I think that
what do you know?
That is an interesting
theory.
Theory, yes. However, how long have you been writing?
That's not... See...
You could have adjusted your writing when you got glasses, even into adulthood, practicing your letters so that they are legible.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's probably people listening who are actual development teachers who are just like, yeah, Johnny, you're just lazy. You got the basics of what you needed to do, and then you didn't put any more effort into good handwriting.
Muscle memory, but in order to improve it, you have to practice, just like anything else.
But I did. I practiced as much as...
Practice writing
the next student.
Well, I mean, even into adulthood.
No. Hell no.
Well...
Why would I practice good handwriting into adulthood?
There's a picture behind him.
I'm going to type in an email. I have good handwriting if I wasn't typing this.
Well, the calligraphy and...
That's an art. Go on, I'm sorry.
Letter art, those are all things. Some people just have really good handwriting like that, but I have to practice it in order to make it look pretty.
My dad didn't have great handwriting.
Most men
It was
don't.
way better than mine, but it was... I mean, there's similarities you can see. I can't remember... Does Aaron have good hand... All of my brothers had better handwriting than me.
Why is it that men or boys have really small handwriting? Like all of the letters...
Because we ain't got no time, baby.
But
we're busy going to the moon and creating computers. We don't have time to...
Oh, and women don't do that?
That was the joke, babe. That was the joke. I tried to get you fired up and it worked.
Good job.
But I think you're right. Men are just... Speaking as a man, let me double check. Yep, man. I think
really
what? I think you're right. We just get... Okay, I got it. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's go. Johnnny. What else do I need? Oh, there's other letters. Let me rush through these.
Yeah.
Perhaps that's it.
It's not that you're incapable of writing neatly.
Or maybe it's because we're men and we're just constantly in a rage state. You better be thankful that we're not just like shredding the paper to bits. That we're tamed down enough to actually like make semi-legible. Oh, this is his name. This is a number. This is a thing. These are some vital information.
I cannot tell that you are writing your name when you write your name.
Okay. You're lefty too, and your handwriting's way better than mine.
Well, I'm a girl.
So I guess you just took pride in your handwriting.
I just learned how to do it correctly.
Okay. Speaking of taking pride, you can take pride in your vehicle if you get it from Audi Central Houston. This is 30 seconds here. Yes, that was an awesome segue. Yes.
Good segue.
Take pride in your vehicle that you buy from Audi Central Houston, not just because it comes with a great warranty and because it has awesome fuel economy up into and including burning zero gas at all. Have pride in knowing that, in my opinion, you're driving a work of art. In a lot of people's opinion, they're very good. That they are very well put together vehicles, and they are art going down the road, especially the new 2019 A6. Oh, it's sexy. Audi Central Houston and AudiCentralHouston.com. Welcome back to Geek Therapy Radio. I am Johnny Hemberger. Broadcast royalty here in Houston.
Wow.
Dare I say, because I'm the second Hemberger on the air here in Houston, trying to carve out my niche here at midnight on KPRC 950 AM. My podcast numbers, by the way, are just blowing up. I got this midnight time slot, but I'm the number 2 podcast on KPRC 950 AM, and that's soon to be first. And that is not at all any sort of Astros type swagger into the postseason. That is calm and calculated and humble. I know it sounds weird to say this. Humble with an H, with a hard H. Humble, because I don't deserve any of it without you, this human being, listening to me right now. I don't. The only reason why those numbers are going up is because you guys like to listen to it, or at least enough of you like to listen to it that you go look up the podcast on iHeartRadio app and Spreaker and iTunes and Pocket Cast and all that kind of good stuff.
And maybe you even tell your friends about it.
And I tell,
so
they
share it.
And the listeners tell their friends, and especially this one, you're cruising around Houston right now. Don't be too bummed that the Astros lost. There's always last year. But you're listening, and what is that sexy girl's voice? I wonder about that. This show is awesome. Well, if you're just joining us, she's Sarah. She's my fiance. I'm your mental curator. She's the mental contributor this week. Because again, I was sick, and I wanted to share the duties of talking because...
Well, we're both sick.
Well, then it's...
So we're sharing...
We're both half-assing one thing to whole-ass one show.
I like it. That's some good logic.
Ron Swanson says you're not... An individual isn't supposed to half-ass anything. You're whole-ass one thing. Don't half-ass 2 things, whole-ass one thing. But in this case, we're both half-assing our way through this show to make one whole-assed Geek Therapy Radio. Teamwork makes the...
Dream work.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So Sarah is like the 5th person today I've asked to come on and help me with this.
Oh, I was the only one who...
First I wanted
Matt. No choice.
Okay.
I've been voluntold.
She was on the couch. Yeah. The first person I wanted on, because he was here today at work, was Mattress Mac, Jim Mackingvale, but he didn't have time. He was on the Michael Berry show today. Second person was Michael. Michael didn't have time. Third person was Ramon, the king of Ding, but he also didn't have time. It was short notice, granted. I didn't know that I was going to feel sick. So I was oh man, it'd be great to just have somebody help and bear the load with the show. Plus, I just wanted a guest on. I'd gone the past couple with no guest. I just wanted a guest. So no one could. I texted Nathan. Just like, I'm cooking dinner with Monica. It's like, we don't have to do it right. Just let me know. So eventually...
I feel... so special.
Oh, I asked Andrew and Ben too. Wow. You're like number 7 or 8.
Why didn't you ask the cats first? She's right here. She's participating.
Oh gosh.
She's right here. Hi.
No. Okay, she's bringing the cat to the microphone. You can't hear that. This is bad radio right now.
Sorry.
Here's what I wanted to ask you about. Not that we haven't been talking about geeky topics, but I know that we have a wedding coming up that. Since it's small and since this is both a mulligan for both of us, we're not spending a lot of money on, but we are spending it ourselves. So here's my question to you. Instead of... yeah.
Oh.
I'm asking you for your permission. Instead of, can the wedding be even smaller, but I get a jetpack? And I promise I'll wear the jetpack when I say my vows.
No.
Because you can get a jetpack for just under $5,000 now. 150 miles an hour, 18,000 feet altitude. Wouldn't it be awesome if I just blasted into my mom's backyard in a jetpack? Just blew all the tables over and everything and
but then
burned your dress up?
Invite more people so then they would be able to witness.
And charge them each $50 to come to help pay for the jetpack.
Yeah. Not the wedding. The jetpack.
The wedding, inconsequential.
It's going to be a good wedding? Yeah.
Okay. So here's how the wedding's gonna go. Just come wearing like swim trunks and your t-shirts, because there's not gonna be nice food. It's gonna be hot dogs but it's not like good hot dogs with buns. We're eating hot dogs straight up like poor style, like we all did growing up, with just the hot dog and the bread buns in the bread slices. Did you ever do that?
Desperately.
You know what? Let me tell you something. Here's a little story about our past. As I mentioned earlier, my dad was, however you want to look at it, rest his soul, Alan Hamburger. And by the time he came to Houston, yes, he was at a good point in his career. But there was a time in my family where my mom had to crack open my brother's piggy banks to have enough money to go and get ice for the freezer or whatever. She used to scrounge up money from the couch cushions wherever she could on hot days, so that because they couldn't afford to run the air conditioner, to take the boys to the mall to be in air conditioning and get some ice cream cones.
4 boys is a lot.
That's a lot.
I can imagine.
So even though my dad was on TV at that time, he used to bring home a camera. He brought home a camera a couple times from the TV station, and the camera was worth like 3 times as much as the house. He put it in the living room and block it off with cushions and things. You're not allowed in the living room because that camera is worth like this whole neighborhood. I don't know, why would they give it to him to take home? Maybe he was doing a story on the road or whatever. I just remember a few times him bringing a camera home and just making us deathly afraid of it, because I absolutely 100% believe that it was worth more than a house. So I know about hot dogs and bread slices. I am not saying that any great deal of my life was ever suffering. We were not suffering, especially by the time we came to Kingwood. My dad was baller status, Channel 13. He did a really, really good job, like almost too good of a job of being candid about money. All he said about money was that money was a tool that you use to live with or whatever. But I never knew how much he made. He never showed us how much he made. We would mow the lawn front and back half acre for $1 for our allowance.
$1?
$1.
Yikes.
And we'd like, Dad, can we have $5? We want to ride our bikes to Randall's. Wash my car. $5. You know, when we started asking our friends, like when we moved to Kingwood, which for those of you who don't know, is kind of an affluent kind of community. The first few Christmases, our friends would call, what did you get? Oh, I got a Super Nintendo and $1,000 and all these doodly-doos. Like, what? How? Like, surely we're in the same town. I wasn't mad at my mom and dad, but I was like, what do you hold? I thought that everyone who lived in a community like made the same amount of money. But all that was different was that my parents had raised us on shoe straps at the beginning and was not excessive. My dad was the only person rolling through Kingwood in $500,000 houses, rolling in a Volkswagen. Our neighbors had Audis and Mercedes and really nice cars, and my dad, I was like, Dad, I asked him once, I said, Dad, why didn't you ever get like a Ferrari or I don't even know, a Bentley or a big Mercedes or something like that? He laughed his ass off. He goes, I had 5 Ferraris, meaning 5 children.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. How many
and then he added to
have?
Yeah, and then he added to it, why? This are his words. Why the hell would I need a Ferrari? You don't need a Ferrari. I was like, yeah, good point, Dad. I felt really dumb.
He's a wise
I had
man.
5 Ferraris. Kids are expensive. So my dad was very practical, even though he was doing well at the end. You know, when we came to Kingwood, we weren't. I wasn't getting $1,000 at Christmases. That's ridiculous. Sarah, thank you for being on Geek Therapy Radio.
Anytime.
By the way, I love you.
I love you.
60 seconds here on the way out for Audi Central Houston. Now that I'm grown up, hopefully I can start looking at cars like Audis. And I got one when my dad passed away from his salesman at Audi Central Houston. So I've been using Audi Central Houston since before Geek Therapy Radio, so I know when I send you to Audi Central Houston that they're going to take care of you, whether you're some big shot on the radio or rich or not. And you can get an Audi in every price point. If you are rolling, you can go get an R8. If you're not rolling so much, you can get an A3. But you're getting all the technology, you're getting all the fuel efficiency and safety and warranty and service and treatment that you've come to expect from Audi Central Houston. So go visit them, tell them Geek Therapy Radio sent you. I love you all. Be good to each other, especially yourselves, and I'll see you next week.